Hello, all. Welcome to Actual Play Band of Blades. I'm so excited about this game. Oh my God, I'm so excited about this game. I'm Sean Nittner. I use he, him pronouns, and I apparently don't know how to cheer like a Marine or something like that because I think it's like oopla or something like that. Anyway, I'm going to be stoked. We're going to go kill some undead. How about you, Jen?
I'm Jen Martin. I use she, her pronouns. I also don't know how to do the cheer, so I'm just going to move around to Misha.
I'm Misha B. I use she, her pronouns. I'm Army, so we don't do Marine cheers. So that's just like a no. We're not doing that. So, Jay.
I'm Jay or Mad Jay. I'm Air Force. We don't do Marine cheers either. So I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say. Strauss?
I am actually shocked that we have proper, honest to goodness people with military backgrounds here. Hi, I'm Strauss.
Sorry, Arby Brat.
That's okay. It counts in my book. How's that? Hi, I'm Strauss, he, him, and I'm one of the authors of this game. But I am incredibly honored and excited to play with this super rad crew of people. And I think that whatever the Legion uses as a cheer is something that we'll invent on our own, and we'll know it for next time. So, all right. Hello, everybody. Welcome aboard, chat. It's great to be here with you folks. We're going to be playing for a slightly shorter window of time, so we're just going to jump right into the game, and I'm going to get everybody started. One of the things that we did before the game is we all talked about our comfort levels. We talked about some safety tools. So if you ever see anybody throw up an X, that's like an X card. It means that we should stop and either edit or like back away from some of the stuff. And in addition to that, one of the things that we talked about is what we're going to do in terms of Chosen. So for those of you that have read the Band of Blades book, you're going to recognize that the Chosen that we are starting the game with is one Zora. She is the Chosen of the living God and the oldest known Chosen on the planet. So in addition to that, let me just welcome you to Band of Blades and tell you a little bit about the world. Things that you need to know about Band of Blades is that this world is old. There are no dragons, no wizards, no elves, no dwarves. It is a world without prophecy, which means that nobody here has like plot armor. So like just because you're part of the Legion doesn't mean that you're the hero TM and therefore destined to succeed. And one of the things that generally solves problem is the blood, sweat, and tears of people. However, that said, there are gods in this world, and usually when there is something like that humans cannot handle, like some sort of massive curse or a problem like a volcano, you'll see that the gods will choose, and it is a process by which they offer a choice to a mortal, and mortal accepts like the divine grace into their body, and they fuse, they become basically like an avatar. Those are called chosen. So in any case, problems in this world come and go, but there's been a problem lately that appeared
Kind of a big one.
Yeah, it's huge. There's this dude called the Cinder King, who showed up, and he manifested a power that no one's seen before, which is that he can create mass quantities of undead. And when he got pretty close to the Eastern Kingdoms, which are going to be a relevant part of our story, you're going to hear a lot about the four kingdoms that comprise the Eastern Kingdoms a lot. 9 chosen were created at once, which is an unheard of number. Usually like 1 to 2 is generally enough to handle any problem. 9 appeared. They went to go confront him, and he performed something that nobody's ever seen before, which is to say he broke 5 of them and turned them into undead monstrosities that still retain some portion of their divine powers, and they in turn created horrific undead creatures to plague the world. As a reaction to this, the Eastern Kingdoms levied fresh troops. Aldermark sent some of their people in. They marched a huge army to confront them at Enmark Fields, and we are actually playing after that event. The forces of humanity have lost, and we are following the exploits and the adventures of a small portion of the remnant of that army, the once fabled Legion, who, when they went to Enmark Fields, had 1,000 people under their banner, and currently they have less than 60. So there's been a catastrophic outcome. No one's super happy. Shit's real bad. So we're gonna start this adventure. I'm gonna read a tiny little piece of fiction, and then we're gonna dive right in. I should have been a tiny bit more prepared here. Here we go. Here we
No,
go.
doing this all from memory. You're
Well, actually, so far it has been. But with the crafting of Blackshot, the undead armies have been at a standstill in the Western Kingdoms, too well entrenched to attack directly and held at bay by smaller but better equipped forces. That changed at the Battle of Edinmark Fields. Now the Legion has been shattered, and the Cinder King's troops march east, bolstered with heretofore unseen horrors to fight humanity. The Legion commander was captured holding the retreat and taken to an Aldermani mountain castle on the border of Dar. The red banners of the Cinder King were sighted by scouts entering the keep, and Zora claims that a special interrogator was sent to turn the commander, i.e. turn them undead, with their mind intact. The generals have decided on one last-ditch rescue attempt. The castles are designed to keep people out, but there is a drainage pipe beneath the mountain that might provide a way in. The Legion has spoken to some people from this keep, perhaps like a major domo or something, and they know that there is a kind of like a sewage / storm drain pipe that leads underneath the keep and would provide a feasible means of ingress. Can you rescue the commander before they are turned and all Legion secrets extracted from them? Or can you take them out before it's too late? Can you make it alive? Can you make it out alive? We play to find out. So everyone here has made a specialist, and this mission is deployed with each of the people playing a specialist. And also you have a squad of 5 rookies. It's a very specific squad. They're called the Silver Stags, and they're a unit of the Legion that is known for doing what needs to be done. Their motto is "at any cost." So, let's all just introduce our characters just so we can get like a brief idea of who our players are. If you want to tell us your character, their pronouns, just like a little bit of a rough look, that's all I'm asking. So just do it in the same little intro order. So Sean, kick us off, and then we'll do Jen, Misha, and Jay. Is that cool?
awesome. Sure. All right. Okay. Sergeant Zayanova, reporting for duty. Zayanova is a Zemyati officer. She used to serve in the 51st Lions back when the 51st Lions existed. She doesn't really know why she's an officer. Maybe it's just that she's lived as long as she has. She's been out in the field, and she values everyone who goes out with her. She considers them all family, and like her family, she wants to bring them home. She has piercing brown eyes, and she wears an assortment of different artifacts from different cultures. So she has this Barton cap that she always wears, but it's got this Zemyati medal that's pinned into it. She has an Orite cloak, but it's got Zemyati embroidery that's made into it. I'm sure that as part of the Legion, we've all served together before, but she nevertheless, when greeted everybody, she says, it's an honor to serve with you. May we use the time that we have together well. That's Zayanova.
Awesome. Jen, tell us who you're playing.
Yeah, so I am playing, Rhea Maniber. I am a Barton medic. I'm tall with dark brown hair and black eyes. I tend to wear pretty bright, sort of flowing, swishy clothes. I usually have on probably an inadvisably small amount of armor on. For better or worse, whatever. I have a warm demeanor, and that's pretty much it. I do have the Mark of Ostara, if memory serves, which is a brand of a sigil of folded wings, and I have that on my cheek, on my right cheek, on my face.
Hardcore.
Yeah.
For those of you, just to fill everyone in, Ostara is a Barton goddess. She is the goddess of mercy, but also a lot of medics are sworn to her. And one of the ways that the brand shows devotion is exactly Misha's reaction. Hardcore means super hardcore. Like most people get like a small brand on their shoulder or something like that. Clearly, this is a very devoted medic.
Yep. Yeah. And also like having that mark potentially gives me some access that people wouldn't necessarily give me, because they know I'm a medic and I'm dedicated. I think that's pretty much it. Yep.
Misha? I think so, right?
So I am playing Cobalt Raging Blaze. She's a Panzer Scout. Let's try that again. She has dark hair, but the ends are dyed blue, kind of like mine. And she's got slightly longer than average canines. Dark skin, dark brown eyes. She typically wears soft leather, little bits of color here and there, but mostly it kind of blends in with the it's mostly brown. There's a little bit of chasing for decoration in a couple places. Let's see what else. Yeah, she's your scout. She's the one you send out first and make sure that stuff isn't in the road and isn't going to jump out and kill you and ambush you and stuff. Jay?
I'm excuse me. I'm playing a Barton heavy called Matali the Cynic. Matali's a grizzled, gaunt, hungry-looking man. His pronouns are he, him. His beard is pretty colorful, along with his clothing. He struggles with being as devout as other Bartons are. He's very stoic, very practical. I think he's kind of mature. He's been in the war for some time. Maybe that's why he dyes his beard, cover up some of the white and the gray. He's very friendly with the rookies, the green members of the company. Maybe he's a little more harsh with the officers. But when it's time to go do the thing, he takes everybody under his wing. He's kind of protective of everyone. That's Matali.
Nice. Don't worry about being hard on the officers. We can take it.
So I think that's all the characters. Is that right?
This round.
Cool. Yeah, for now.
Yeah.
So the first question that I'm going to ask, eventually this will be the marshal's duty, but tonight, since we're doing first session nonsense, it is my duty. I have to ask, what loadout is everybody bringing? Options are light, normal, or heavy. So yeah, is there a decision amongst the group?
Heavy might be really challenging in the sewers. So that's a consideration that we might be in small, cramped quarters or trying to move fast, especially if we've rescued the commander. So I'm going to go with normal. That's not to say people can't do heavy. I'm just throwing that out there as a concern.
It's also okay if people take different loads. So if you're planning on doing a lot of sneaking, you might want to consider light or normal load if you have something like Traveler from the Pioneer, which makes you quick. If you are planning on taking a heavy beating and doing everything you can, and you just want to trust the rest of the group to help you out, maybe going heavy load is not going to be the hardest. So it's up to you folks. You're not going to be doing a lot of dancing and or backflips in that heavy load, but this is going to be a rough mission. So,
yep.
I think we'll stick with light for me.
Now, Misha, I just want to point out, I did see that you have Traveler as a Pioneer, which means that you can take normal load and still count as if you were in light.
Well, let's do that then.
Yeah, that move is awesome. That trait is awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna do normal.
I'm doing heavy.
Cool. So
Unless you talk
The
about
heavy and the heavy, I can dig it.
the heavy going heavy? No, I'm not gonna talk about
No, that's not how that works.
Sean, what are you in?
I'm going normal.
Really?
I'm passing up the battlefield banner, which I really don't need in this,
But
and
you're passing up the heavy armor.
and the heavy armor. That's okay. I'm taking a shield as
all right, sounds great. Okay, cool. So let's just to tell this to the groups at home, for those of you that are watching this, sort of like trying to scope out Band of Blades. One of the things that Band sorry about the cat. One of the things that Band does that Blaze is not is you actually pick all your gear before you start. So instead of doing the Blades thing where we just pick gear as we need it, Band will actually give you your loadout. So it'll say, okay, at heavy, you get everything at light and normal and heavy. So you get all that stuff, and then you get to pick 2 things using utility load slots. Any 2 boxes, either one thing that's worth 2 boxes like Blackshot, or 2 items worth 1 box each.
Oh, I would love to take Blackshot.
I mean, you can.
I can, but then I can't take a shield.
That's all I'm saying.
All right, never mind. I take it back. I'm going heavy, no shield, and Blackshot. There we go.
Tough choices are the name of the game.
Yep.
I'm going to do a hand weapon and a flare gun.
Cool. Is your flare gun like smoke rounds? Like, do you fire like red, green, yellow smoke, or is it like a burning phosphorus kind of thing?
I'm thinking burning phosphorus.
All right, Brad. Sean,
Yes.
since you're an officer in heavy load, I have to ask you, what does your armor? Your armor is somehow identifiably yours. What crest or marking upon it identifies it as yours?
My armor is dyed green, and it's got an enamel green coat on it. It is custom fit to Zayanova, but she still manages to look uncomfortable in it whenever she's at rest. Zayanova, when she's like reporting or like not in the field, looks like she's too small for it, and then when she enters we'll see, she feels more at home when she's actually doing things in it. But yeah, it's this dark enamel green, and there is no like big bold there's no big like super bold like giant crest on it, but if you look at it and you can see it in good light, there's a lion. There's a lion that's like the lines of the lion or of the lion's head are in the chest.
Cool.
So you have to like look at it clearly to see it. But,
awesome.
Yeah.
Jen, Jay, do you folks good on gear?
I think so. I think I'm going to take, for my utility, I'm going to take a lantern and a repair kit. I'm not super clear on what a repair kit does, but it sounds really
it can
useful.
patch armor. So basically, if some horrific undead cuts through someone's armor, like they throw them into a wall and they use their armor to soak it, that armor is going to start falling apart. A repair kit is the kind of thing you can use in the field to patch it up so that it lasts for a couple hours. Like, it's not supposed to be super great, but it'll give you a free piece of armor back.
Is it? Do you have to roll on a thing?
Nope.
Okay, cool.
You just need some time. You can't do it like in 10 seconds. You got to like be in a room for like a hot minute.
Yeah.
Please stop eating all my headphones.
What'd you say, Misha?
It's a roll of duct tape.
Yeah.
It's hammers, files, nails, pins, planks, pulleys, ropes, saws, can jam traps, repair doors, and siege devices.
Yep. That seems like a useful thing for me to bring.
Yeah.
And more in character than bringing a shield.
Well, the soldiers in the Legion can wear armor and are trained to participate as part of like battlefield maneuvers. So it's not unthinkable for you to bring a shield. It's just you're not mandated.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't need to protect myself. I'm here to help other people.
Jay,
Pointed.
You all set? You got your gears?
I think so. As I go through my list, it looks like I have a lot of things already preset. Is that correct?
Yeah, you're huge heavy.
Okay, perfect.
You're gonna come with shield and armor. Well, maybe. Are you running two-hander or are you running like weapon shield?
Fine shield or fine large weapon.
I'd like to take the fine tower shield. So I think I'm.
So you have to choose the fine shield then. Yeah.
What's what weapon do you use?
I think it's a hammer.
Awesome. A warhammer.
Yeah, it's a warhammer.
Yeah. Awesome. I love it. Okay, cool.
This Josh, when one of the listings was Heartwood Spear, and the Zemyati have very sacred trees.
Yeah.
there to them. I assume that heartwood is a
Oh,
branch off of
dang.
that tree.
It can be a branch from your family tree. Yeah.
Yes, that is the weapon that Zayanova uses as the as a heartwood spear from her family tree.
I can dig it. Cool. So let's just jump right into it. So I'm gonna read you a very tiny tidbit. It says, let me get my storyteller voice on. Rain and thunder is punctuated by howls of the undead above. The rainwater exits the drainage pipe at a clip. Your chosen, Zora, will lead an assault on the main gates of the castle as just a distraction. This is a stealth and speed mission, but it's get in, get the commander, get out. Whatever you do, don't let the undead learn the Legion's secrets. Do not fail at any cost. So the way that we do this is I'll see if I can during break get my clocks to work. I didn't get my clocks to work before we started this, but I'll see if I can get them set up. But for right now, it's actually probably mirror image. So I'm so sorry, Twitch. But one of them says undead, and one of them says Zora and the Legion. We're gonna create some clocks. Anytime time passes, or possibly as a consequence of rolls, these clocks, I'm gonna make some rolls for both groups. They're just straight up fortune rolls. You'll see them in the doobly-doo. We're going to see how the battle up front is going. So as of right now, you folks are sneaking in. Who is in the front? Who's leading the ingress, as it were?
So,
Probably me.
All right. Cool. So Misha, you're a scout. Give me an idea. How far ahead of the group are you? Are you like 10 steps ahead? Are you a significant clip ahead? Are they at the mouth of the entrance and you're just like a little ways in? How are you going in here?
I'm making sure that they can still see me.
Okay.
So maybe 15, 20 feet max.
Sounds absolutely great.
what's our lighting like down here? Is it?
I have a lantern.
Somebody was smart.
Yeah.
So I think your lighting is garbage, except for the fact that there is a lantern, and periodically there is that flash of lightning, right? That like lights everything up, and then a couple seconds later, you hear the thunder, and it like comes through with just the flicker of candlelight on the walls. And
does that flash of lightning let us kind of illuminate specifically where all the entries are, where all the grates are and whatnot? We can see the light coming in through them.
You know that you're supposed to kind of turn down a tunnel, but the way that first missions work is just so that everyone knows, eventually there will be a role called the Marshal. The Marshal's responsible for engagement rolls, but because this is first session, we assume that you rolled risky on your engagement roll, and we jump right into the event. So Misha, you're in front, and there's this moment where you realize that your group has to like hop across like a channel, and sort of like enter one of the side passages. That's at least what it says on your map. And you go to do that, and you realize that the sewer is filled with bodies. Like the first thing that you notice, like there's stuff in the water, but you're expecting that, like, there's gonna be branches and dirt and whatnot. But then like there's a lightning flash, and in that flash you see something move. And so like as you hold still for a brief second, you realize that like your foot brushed against a hand. And when you pay attention to it, you realize that what happened is they make undead up there, and they take all of the bodies that haven't been properly converted. So like the ones that are like, they've been shot or cut in half or all that stuff. And they just dump them into the sewers. Now, they're not particularly smart, because usually you need like a command unit to keep the undead on task and sort of like focused. But these ones but like there's a lot of them. Like there's a whole bunch of them. So like they're not particularly mobile, but there's like probably like easily like 2, 3, 4 dozen like partial bodies down here that are still kind of twitching. And you somehow as the scout need to find a safe way across. What do you want to do?
So I'm getting like, there's an arm trying to crawl away, and there's a kind of thing. Okay. I stop.
Seems prudent.
I like motion to them to like stop too. Like make a there's a zombie.
I'm sure we have a symbol for.
Yeah, there's
zombies.
probably a hand sign for a
There's
zombie.
probably a hand
Yeah.
sign for zombies.
Yeah, I think these are rotters or rotter bits rather.
Yeah,
That's correct.
bits. They're little bits. And then I'm like
Bits
looking.
that used to be people.
I know. I'm looking for. How easily distracted are they?
You get the feeling. So like you fought undead before, right? Like this is not. I'm not gonna make you roll to try and figure something out that you already know. So like essentially, you know that they probably have orders like just like attack anything living that comes through here. As a matter of fact, that's probably the thing that sets you off. Like you see some rat like scurrying along the corner, and then like one of these undead hands catches it. And the thing like, does the classic like zombie thing where it like brings it in. There's a crunch. But you don't think that they're like, they might be distractible. They might not. Like one person just like poking them and trying to lead them away. Like they're not even. The problem isn't that you can get them to like move very effectively. The problem is that you need to kind of weave your way through them, and not all of them are mobile. So they're creating this like grid of problem, right? So you're in a risky situation, but you haven't set them off. Like they aren't getting up and attacking or anything like that.
Okay.
They're just like milling about, and you know that you need to like kind of cross this trench with a whole bunch of them, but there's no like. At first blush, there is no obvious way to do that safely.
How big is this trench?
Not huge. You were expecting to like basically hip wade through it without too much trouble. We're talking
how
like
far across is it?
10 feet maybe.
So like a tower shield being held by two people on either side of it, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
You just got to get one to the other side, like the scout, maybe.
Well, is there like a grate or something above us that a rope could potentially be hooked onto that we could then swing across this stretch?
I mean, there are. This is a sewer, and it's not a sewer in the modern sense. Like there isn't like solid concrete in a nice tube. We're talking about thing that looks like cobblestones, and there's rocks missing and stuff like that. You could jam hooks into walls and like work your way across pretty reliably, you think? Do you have a climbing kit?
That is an excellent question. I do, in fact, have a climbing kit.
All right. So my question is, how do you want to do this? Do you want to? So like, I'm asking about like an action, and you get to decide the action as per the rules. So like, do you want to try and jump across, which is like maneuver? Do you want to sneak across, which is like maybe scout? Whatever you describe to me, we're gonna run with. How do you want to try and handle this problem?
I'm gonna try to sneak across. In such a way as to keep me like above the level of the critters.
All right.
And like I said, if there's some way that I can secure something up high that then people can swing themselves over, we'll do it that way.
Cool. So you do have a climbing kit. Climbing kit involves like pitons, and some grapnels and things like that. So like, you can probably do it as you go. It's not super easy, but you can wait for thunder, right? Like lightning comes in, you're like 3, 2, 1, and then you like pound something into a wall. Right. This because by assumption the engagement is risky. This roll is going to be risky. So go ahead and give me a risky scout roll. So if you've played Blades before, and I'm addressing this to Twitch chat, you know that you can push, we can get assists. There's all sorts of other stuff that can happen before the roll. Right. But that seems to be roughly what we're establishing on.
So Misha, I assume that by the time that you're kind of like pulling out of your climbing kit that we've caught up to you, because we were only a little bit behind you. And to get you started, off the ground, Zayanova, unless this is something you would really like to do because you are the heavy, but Zayanova is gonna like plant herself on her knee so that you can like step onto her shoulder and like get like a good couple feet off the ground to get started. Okay. So you start from a higher stance. I'm gonna spend a stress to assist.
All right. Effect is
standard. Yeah, you're just gonna make it all the way across. This is a reasonable plan.
Is this going to get all of us across, or is this just going to get?
I think it's going to get all of you across, because what Misha is describing is using gear that she has to establish a path that anyone can follow hand over hand with the ropes.
Cool.
If Misha rolls 4 to 5, I may have a different scenario in mind.
Sure.
But for right now, this is the condition.
And then Sean's assist gives me 1 bonus die. Yes?
Yeah, give me
Correct. So you get a 5. So I'm going to tell you what happens. You make it to the other side just fine. You set up this path, right? And I'm going to say that pretty much everyone is going across. And like the rookies in the squad make it across just fine. Medic makes it across just fine. But if we were to watch this in a movie, the first thing that's going to happen is the first time somebody's on it, there's going to be some like rubble raining down from one of the pitons. And, like the rookies get across, it's like starting to wiggle a little, but it's fine. It's fine. You secured it pretty well. However, when the heavy is going across hand over hand, there's this moment where like all of the weight and the armor and the tower shield and everything else just pulls that thing out. And you see the heavy go crashing down into the pool, surrounded by all these undead. What is everyone? I'm Jamal. I mean, Jay, you're up. What do you want to do here? You're dropping into basically a shark tank here.
Now, for reminding everybody of Blades things, there's a couple things that we could do. One of them is you could resist that, Jay. You could be like, nope, I'm going to jump at the last moment, and I'm going to try and reduce or eliminate that consequence, depending on how much Strash feels like you can alleviate of that. You can resist with one of your stats. The other thing is we could say, cool, that happens, and then we can all try and fish you out. Like, it's not necessarily you fall in and you're eaten by zombos, right? Like we got lots of things you can try.
Just also to make it clear to anyone running this at home, there are 2 consequences on a 4 or 5 that I'm invoking here. The first one is limited success, which is to say that you got yourself in most of the crew across, but not one person. And also I'm saying this person is now in a desperate situation. And you can resist either of those. And if so, like, yes, if somebody says like, wait, also another thing that I can remind everyone, because this mechanic is going to be important, particularly for the heavy, although in this time the heavy's the one that needs the help, is that somebody else can protect a teammate. So you can reach out like with your hand, grab the teammate at the last second and pull them across, which is to say that you're taking the consequence onto yourself and resisting it, for example. So that's the thing you can do. You can be like, this person's in trouble, but I'm going to protect them. I'm going to take the harm onto myself and then resist it. So in this case, there's no harm. It's just a dangerous situation, but you can resist it.
Yeah.
So.
And that's what I do. I resist. I think maybe I haul butt the last minute and jump to close the distance to the other side.
Awesome. So this is the consequence. This is basically like a physical consequence, so it's going to be a prowess resist. And I believe that you're good at this.
Yes, I am. I get an extra die.
You do.
Because I'm good at it.
That's right, because you're Barton. You're stoic. You're used to this.
All right. Oh, there it is. I'm working my way through the sheet here.
Yeah, if you click on the actual, there you go. So you got a 4, which means that it's going to cost you 2 stress, but you're going to make it to the other side. You're not going to rouse the suspicion of all the undead, and you're not going to be in their midst, right?
Right.
So go ahead and describe to me what that looks like, right? Like you're hand over handing, and this thing is giving way. Do you like swing yourself across heroically? Do you like jam your hammer into something? Like what does that look like?
No, I think I jam my hammer into the length of the other side. That way it's embedded, and maybe I yank myself across the rest of the distance.
Awesome. I think everyone, like you actually see a couple of the rookies like breathe a sigh of relief, because like losing your heavy is like that'll break morale in 2 seconds.
It's not a good thing.
But I think one of them doesn't even realize what they say. And they go like, wow, we almost ended up in a shitty situation. And somebody else cracks up, like cuffs him upside the head, like makes the quiet sign. All right, cool. So you folks are on the other side, and you're headed, up the passage. You have a map, so like roughly where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
And just one problem. The like as you get to the like tour, like you walk for not it's not too far, right? Like the storm drain doesn't go for miles. It's like a couple hundred feet, right? Like a lot of stuff comes from above, but like the actual like drainage system isn't like massive. Also boring through stone to make this stuff is super expensive in both time and energy. But there is a like kind of rusty, not great grate at the end of this, and you need to kind of figure out how to get past it and into the keep. Now I'm going to tell you, I know for a fact you have a heavy, and your heavy is in heavy loads, so I know you have a wrecking kit. The problem here isn't getting through this grate. I think all of you will be able to figure that out in short order. The problem here is getting through the grate without necessarily alerting people. So I guess what I'm going to ask everyone is, how are you planning to get past this without either A, alerting all of the like moaning corpse bits behind you, or perhaps somebody who's above, sort of like closer to where the action is happening.
And we think we're getting pretty close at this point, right?
Pretty
like,
close.
The chance of somebody overhearing it's important.
It's not non-zero.
Yeah.
It's not, you're not going to learn the whole keep. Like a rusty grate opening underground somewhere is not going to like immediately get everyone's attention. But there are alert clocks and alarm clocks, and those are things that this may affect.
Sure. Well, we know the timing of the lightning and the thunder, or at least World Namer will recognize this tactic. So I feel like we can, if we count it out, we can be prepared to make the loudest of the noises when the thunder is wrenching, when the thunder is going.
How are you coordinating that? Is someone standing at the edge of the hallway giving the sign when the lightning goes off?
That's what I'm thinking. Is it can we see, is there any access above where we can see when the lightning comes through?
I mean, yeah, sure. Yeah, that sounds that sounds plausible. It's easier to see from behind than it is from above, because like the tunnels are a little bit more open. There's probably like a door or latch or something above you. You can probably see through the cracks, but it's a little bit tougher to time. Yeah, I'm just asking, do folks work as a team? Do you have somebody standing back there like, flashing the light when it's time? Like how are you doing this?
That's what I'm thinking, is that we do a group rec where we all coordinate to time it. We're all coordinate to time it and get everybody in there pressing right when we have the moment, so that it's not just one person trying to pry it. It's everybody using whatever tools they can to pop it open, so that it's
okay. So that's scale. So that'll get the job done quickly.
Does anybody happen to have any, like, I don't know, oil that we could use to like lube up the hinges a little so that they don't quite squeak as much? Loud? Because
I'm staring at, I guess you folks don't know how my screen is arranged, but I'm staring at Jen because I know that when you get a lantern you also get oil. So
yeah.
Cool. So you know what, I think so here's the thing that Blades does that I think is really like maybe lacking in other systems, which is we have to look at the fiction. And I'm thinking about what this position is. So what I'm saying is this position is risky, but you folks are using a group, so you have a lot of leverage and a lot of strength. You're using oil to like oil up hinges. You brought the gear, so you're applying gear to the situation. You have people doing the timing, and you have a wrecking kit, which makes this fairly trivial. So I think at this point we're actually like controlled great. But I think that particularly because you're striking during thunder and you're coordinating, unless something goes like drastically wrong, it's unreasonable for me to say that like people randomly just see you do this. So instead of making a roll, I think that you've given me enough fictional justification to say that this is beyond controlled, and we're just going to move past this fictionally and sort of establish where we're at. So first things first, as you get sort of like through this grate, it's going to lead to a drainage system that goes around the courtyard of the castle. So look at me, I'm about to be super dramatic in Roll20. Dun, 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 I brought art.
Did
I'm
you?
sure Sean's gonna scramble to reassess the margins of that, but
Yeah, a little bit. It's okay.
So in any case, the you folks are actually like inside the keep at this point, right? Like your armies are outside the keep. You folks have to go up like this is not pleasant to move through, so you have to move through like single file, but you're not in any jeopardy. There are storm drains throughout the surrounding courtyard. So when it rains, it hits the cobbles and then like it goes into the storm drains and drains out of the keep. So you folks actually see these like thin little rectangular like sewer peepholes that you're looking up. The water is pouring in, but you can look above it and sort of like see roughly what's going on. And as you kind of like peek your heads out, you see reflected. So like this is a castle, and I want you to. It's raining. It's dark. It's lightning. But it's a castle in the mountains. The back of this keep is up against kind of like a sheer cliff face. It's not particularly good for scaling. It's like very difficult to scale. Like you put castles up against mountains because you don't expect people to come over the mountains into there. But you see in the courtyard, there is a whole bunch of undead and they're scrambling. As a matter of fact, periodically, for a second, you're just like, is that lightning? But you see an orange glow. And those of you that have fought at her side before know that when Zora takes the field, she generates a circlet of fire above her head. And she holds an empty hilt that generates a blade of similar flame. And it's shining so bright that she's actually like painting orange like across the battlements. And like you can see it like glinting off the top of the castle. Go ahead.
This is in character. I'm like,
we're all perched looking through the drain, watching this.
So for those of you that don't know, the undead that's stationed here, the undead type that's stationed here is Blighter's troops are stationed here. Blighter used to be an Orite chosen. She used to have alchemical powers, but she's been broken, and she's considered one of the physically less potent broken, but she supplements her lack of perhaps personal presence on the battlefield with horrific monsters that are stitched together from corpses and all sorts of nasty alchemy. So one of the things that you see is there's a couple of these things called horrors. Horrors are about 12 feet tall. They're usually stitched together from like multiple bodies. And there's one in particular that reaches back behind it and it grabs, there's like a stack of barrels that's being, there's a bunch of like undead that are dragging barrels to like right behind it. And it reaches back and it wraps one of its massive arms around a barrel. And then you see it like basically chuck it like a shot put. Like it hurls it across the wall with like a mighty like roar! Like it's got like multiple bodies, so like multiple mouths open up and it gives this roar and it goes flying over the walls. So like that's their version of catapults. And you're seeing them like basically like doing bombardment fire with horrific, like you see like horrific green gas trailing behind these barrels that's going over the walls. And yeah, so you see the pitter pat of you know feet and such over there. So cool. How do you folks want to get in? How do you want to find out where the captain or the commander is? Sorry, my bad. What's the plan here?
I think,
Cobalt.
well, we're all gonna have to sneak in.
No, I know, but like, she's got the best chance of getting scouting out a good path because like you and the heavy are full of armor and heavy things.
Yeah.
But,
Are you planning on sneaking across the courtyard? Do you have a different plan? Like this is the part where I'm open to any and all suggestions. Oh, before we do anything else, I'm just gonna make a quick fortune roll for Zora and the undead, and we're gonna see sort of like what the battle is positioned as. So let me do that. Now, Zora is a chosen. She's gonna get she's gonna get the highest of she's gonna roll 4 dice. She gets 5. So I'm gonna give the undead she's actually making progress and doing some damage. The assault on the front gates is not exactly shaking them in their foundation, but they seem to be doing pretty well. And now I'm going to return fire. For those of you unaware, there is an infamous here leading the charge.
Oh damn!
Yeah, oh damn is indeed. They're going to do 3 segments back. So yeah, I think what happens is there's, like I said, I described sort of like the war situation, but you see that barrel go over the wall, and you see a second horror like do like another one of those like pull, and like you see the barrels go in quick succession, and there is a. For those of us watching the movie at home, we hear a horrific hiss. We hear some terrified screams from the other side, and like that flame gutters for a second. So it lets you know that the undead are given perhaps better than they're getting, but they are in a fortified position with perhaps superior troop numbers. So that's not really unexpected. What that should tell you, though, is that your time to do this mission is limited.
Yeah, we got to go before Zora has to fall back.
Yeah, I don't think we have time to do like super duper sneaky. So I think we're gonna go for fast sneaky and just like stay to the edges of the courtyard in the shadows.
Can we tell where? So we're not running around. Can we tell where? I assume that they're going to keep the commander in some sort of fortified space. Can we make out any of the layout of the keep of where the commander might be?
So I'm gonna tell you a couple of things, but then I'm gonna say like I don't know where do you want to go, right? Yeah. So like bear in mind that most keeps there's obviously the outer walls. This one in particular has 4 small towers. Could be in one of those, but those are on the outside, like they're part of the wall structure that provides the outer wall of right. This castle, right? There is a keep, so there's an actual active like inner keep, and there's several buildings like what used to be stables, but there are no horses. The undead don't use horses, and horses don't like undead. So like, there's empty stables. There's a smithy. There's a bunch of other things that you would find sort of like in the bailey around the keep, right? Like there's a whole bunch of like, gardening tools. There's even like what looks to have been trampled. Right now, there's like a whole bunch of rotters there, but like there used to be a garden once upon a time for like safe sustenance. You see the walls of a well, that kind of thing. So like, where is the commander? Possibly in the keep, possibly in one of the structures out here, possibly in one of the towers. What I'm actually asking is like flashback. Do you want to tell me how you know where the commander is?
Nice. Remind us where we got the information that he was here.
You can make it up. I merely made the suggestion that this keep belonged to local Aldermani graf, like a noble, like a count of some sort. Yeah. And you folks can have talked to their majordomo. You could have talked to some of the people that worked or lived here. Like humans have escaped here, right? Like when the undead show up, they're not usually like they don't get 100% fatalities. Like they don't have usually the hundreds of thousands of people to like starve out and like sort of like kill everything that escapes, but they'll kill a lot of people, but lots of people will escape too. So you could have easily gotten some information. You tell me.
Sure. Does anybody have an idea of
I was going to say, like, this is not necessarily specifically flashback, but like, do we have an idea of what the way that Blighter or the Infamous would try to break our commander? Like, would they do it with like physical torture, or do they need like a big lab space? Like,
Zora said that the trick to this is that the Cinder King sent an undead that Blighter does not have. It's a type of undead that's supposed to convert the commander in such a fashion that they would become undead but still retain their memories. It's apparently a very difficult process. So you're guessing it's some weird magic-y nonsense. It probably isn't quick, because if it was quick, Zora would have been like, nope, they're already dead. We're too late. But like, it probably needs some degree of privacy.
Well, yeah, and that's what I was going to say. So they're probably in like the innermost room where they won't get interrupted.
Yeah.
Sounds plausible.
Is there any kind of like church or sanctuary kind of a chapel.
Oh, dang.
What I'm looking for.
Heck
That
yeah.
they might have used for something like that, or.
So the Aldermani worship the twins, which is Mattia and Gerholtz. They're essentially like they're usually drawn as like twin brothers. They one of them is a god of smithing and crafting. The other is a god of hunting. There is probably the smithy probably has like the hammer of Mattia above it, but it doesn't look like they have an actual like church necessarily.
Yeah.
So probably not there.
I think I'm gonna call for a flashback then to the. I suspect you're right, Jen. I suspect it's in center, but I want to confirm. I think I'm gonna call it a flashback to talk to the lore master, whoever that might be.
Okay.
To be like, you can't send us in there with nothing but a map and a hunch. There must be something in the annals that say what this keep has been used for before. Give us tell us what the Legion has found in the past when we've encountered this keep before. And Zainova is Zemyati, and they're raiders from the mountains. So she also actually comes in and is like, I assume that they've probably done Aldermani raids in the past. She's like, when my family, my family often, or my family has been known, my family, like her history of her family. If my family has raided Aldermani in the past, I'm sure the Legion has recorded it.
Okay. So what you're saying is that there may be actual like descendants Zemyati raiders somewhere in the mountains here, and they may or may not have done this, and you might have had. Yeah, the Legion does accept like folks into their ranks that are a little bit shady. So like, all right, cool. These are all new facts. We're learning things about the Legion. As a matter of fact, I was going to ask you, do we want to establish some traits of the Lord Keeper? Do we know where they're from? Are they a Zemyati Lord Keeper? Or are they? Jen, I'm gonna ask you this question because I know you're angling at it.
I mean, I already started prepping the book. It's no big deal. That's a great question. Yeah, because Zemyati are the mountain people, right? Yeah. Let's go with that for sure.
Awesome. So
Cool.
The other thing that Zemyati are, the thing that they're taught most, the first, is to be loyal and to stick with each other. And so I look at my fellow Zemyati quartermaster and I'm like, if you're sending us all in for this dangerous mission, you owe us to give us everything you possibly can.
Cool. So unless somebody says otherwise, I assume that the Zemyati Lord Keeper will pour over the annals for like a whole night to prepare you for this mission as best they can. And I think that's going to be a one stress flashback. Cool. And you're actually going to be given, let's say, I think your scout starts with some maps of the keep. So you have a slightly better layout than just your eyeballs. And she tells you that very likely it's going to be like higher up in the keep and like somewhere in like the library, or like they have like a big sort of like reception room where they have like grand balls and fetes and that kind of thing. Nice. So yeah, she says that there's that's usually like off of that is usually where a lot of business was done. So unless they want to like wreck beds and convert bed chambers, that's probably like your most likely bet.
Nice. So I look to Cobalt Raging Blaze and sort of point on the map that you have, where I think it would be. And I'm like, you still have that climbing kit?
Most of it.
All right. So is the plan to try and sneak out somewhere in the courtyard, cross it, and then actually climb up the side of the keep? Is that what I'm hearing?
I think climbing up the side of the keep means we don't have to go through all the shit that's in the middle of the keep.
Yeah, but the problem is we have to get 2 people with heavy loads to climb up a fucking wall.
It's true.
People with heavy loads have. Let me handle that. People with heavy loads have learned to carry them, and Zainova looks very comfortable in her heavy armor right now.
Oh, so
Right.
you only look uncomfortable when we're not moving around.
She looks uncomfortable when she's like having to be officer, but when she's out in the field,
I see. Okay.
All right. So, how do you folks want to handle this? Is this a group scout roll to get across the courtyard?
I think so.
Yeah, I think we probably do a similar trick to the last times. Like, I'll go ahead and like start placing things for like handholds for people.
Well, hang on.
I think Josh is saying we first have to sneak over there and then we have to get up it.
Yeah. It's roughly. I'm saying your first obstacle is getting across that courtyard unnoticed. If you're like, our first obstacle is climbing, I'm like, well, let's start with desperate zero effect because you're not at the wall yet.
Yeah, right. No, let's get across it. Misha, I think you should go first, but I'm happy to coordinate and lead it because scouting in a big group makes us bigger. But I have lead from the front, which means I can improve our scale and make us small again, make us all move as a small unit. And also, I am good at group actions. So if I think you go first, but if you're okay with kind of coordinating it, we can reduce it. Yeah.
So it's one of those like, all right, I'm gonna go step where I step. And then I'm going to trust you to make sure that they step where I step.
Yeah, exactly. I think you go first and I go last, and I'm making sure everyone is following you.
All right. So there's a bunch of stuff that's got to happen. If this is a group action, that means that everyone's going to roll scout, but someone's going to have to lead it. And whoever leads it takes the stress for every person that comes up with a 1 to 3 result. And in addition to all of you, someone's going to have to roll 1 die for the rookies. So I just want to make sure that everyone's clear on this. Is the plan, correct?
I mean, if we want to get all of us through, we have to do a group action, right? We can't.
Yeah.
Unless one of us just wants to scout and leave everyone else behind.
Well, I was gonna say, is there a way, like, can me and Misha go like set the climbing equipment and then like around a corner or something? So like, is there a way for us to not have to have the 2 heavy load people and the rest of the squad tromp through this courtyard?
Yeah. Actually, that will reduce the difficulty from desperate because you're bringing like 20 people across the courtyard to risky, maybe even controlled because they don't actually know that you're there yet. So maybe we start at controlled and it might go risky.
Okay, so yeah, I'd rather do that then me and Jin can sneak off, get to a place where we can lower ropes from a hidden point of view.
Yeah.
So that they can get up from a better vantage point where they don't have to sneak across the courtyard. Because these guys doesn't sound like they sneak so good.
Okay. So are both of you in light load?
Normal.
Yeah.
Okay. So cool. Let's do this. There's a group scout. Who's leading?
Sure.
That's Misha.
Oh, Misha's leading? All right, cool. So both of you roll scout. Do either of you want to push? Is there?
I'm gonna have to because I have nothing in scout.
Okay. Well, we can talk about that, right? Like somebody from the outside can assist you. Like someone can maybe hold you gear. We can talk about a devil's bargain. My devil's bargain will be that you put a bunch of your stuff in a bucket so that you're much lighter and you're mostly in airy clothing. So we'll talk about what you leave behind.
Dang.
It'll give you a die, so.
Wow.
I'm actually really interested in that devil's bargain.
Okay.
Devil's bargain sounds like a good one to me.
Cool.
Yeah.
So my question for you is, how do you drop down to light load? Like, what all do you stow? Because like, it's not going to be gone, although effectively it'll be gone because you folks are going to move past this, and I don't think you're going to be backtracking for a while. So like, you're going to put this like somewhere in the stables or leave this like in a pack in the sewers, but like both of you are going as light as you can so you can move as fast as you can, right? Yeah. So what all you're leaving behind? I feel like at least some medical supplies, right?
Yeah. So like mechanically, am I just trying to like cross off 2 things off this list to get down to a 3 light load, or is this more a fictional positioning that we're talking about?
This is a fictional positioning thing. Like for example, you're probably not going to bring your lantern, but you can probably hand it to someone, right? Like so this is not like terrible, right? You probably don't want to run around with a glowing thing that gives away your position.
Sure.
But like if you're normal, you have armor on. Like, do you leave your armor behind? Like, that's dangerous, but
yeah,
possible.
I kind of think that I leave my armor behind.
Okay.
Because I would drop the armor before I would drop my medic kit or my medical supplies.
Awesome. So we see you actually like binding your medical kit like some sort of like climber's backpack on, right? And then leaving the heavy armor behind so that you're all limber and ready to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have a question for you. This is a good moment to ask this. You're a Barton medic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one of the customs of the Barton people is that when somebody feels either a really close bond to someone or they feel like they owe them something super great, they give them a little charm, right? And it's usually worn in like necklaces and bracelets.
They make a lot of noise.
They do. So my question is, how many do you have, and what do you do with them? I mean, these are life debts, right? Like maybe leaving them in the trash is not a thing. But I'm asking.
No, I definitely don't. I think that I give them to Zionova before we move out and ask her. No, I don't. I give them to the other Barton because
there you go.
And I'm sorry, I'm blanking on.
Sure, just crushing my heart. All good.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
But he would get it. Like he would understand, and he would understand like what it cost me to like ask him to hold on to these for me. But I feel like there's maybe a half a dozen of them that are like from like my parents or like super close that I absolutely will not let go of. And I mostly try to like stuff those inside my clothes so that they won't like rattle around too much.
Awesome.
I like walk over to you. I like pull your gloves up your arms and stuff them down.
Yeah.
Well, this is legit, right? Like as a scout, you're like, no, this is how we do this. This is why I'm leading, right?
Yeah.
Stuff them so that they don't rattle.
Cool. So Jen, you're gonna get 1 die for the Devil's Bargain. Okay. And Misha, you're gonna get your scout dice. I will ask you if you want to push or anything yourself, and then let's just
we can still assist either one as well.
Mm-hmm. You just have to say how.
Yeah. I mean, Jay, if you were excited about it, I could see just you holding on to these baubles as the emotional and the assist. I'm also happy to assist by way of just like coordinating.
Yeah, no, I can certainly do that. Being Barton, I understand the nostalgia and the traditions behind all those trinkets.
Cool. So, Jay, do you want to mark like 1 stress and give the assist here?
Yes.
Cool. You can give it to either, but Strash, knowing probabilities and math, I would suggest giving it to Misha.
Mm-hmm. What position are we in?
Controlled. It is lightning. There is a war outside. Zora is distracting them, and there's only 2 of you in light load. You are controlled. Standard effect. You're in good shape.
How do I add the bonus dice?
It's at the end. If you after you set your position, everything else say bonus dice, and then you can put a 1 in there.
Yeah.
I've literally never rolled dice like this on Roll20 before, and it's neat, but it's also slightly confusing.
There's several steps. If it rolls it wrong, we can,
I got a 4.
No stress.
4
not bad.
Not cause stress, and if it's the highest roll, you're at least gonna still do it with a minor consequence, right? So that's pretty good start right there.
I didn't ruin it.
You did not.
Your Devil's Bargain paid off.
Nice.
Misha, showing us why scouts are awesome.
Killing it.
So I think there's this, I'm going to say this and then you folks correct me. Feel free to add flavor and other things like that. There's a moment where the 2 of you are just like between lightning flashes. Like lightning shows an empty courtyard in that section. And then there's darkness as like before the thunder rolls in. And then when lightning flashes again, the 2 of you are like peeking out from like the next,
Yeah.
You just zips up. And I feel like you get to like, the back and like during one of the lightning flashes, there's like a 3, 2, 1. And then there's like the peal of thunder. It reverberates across everything. You hear the as like a horror throws another one of those alchemical barrels. The windows shatter. Like there is a shattered window, after all that noise is gone, and then the two of you are like on the second floor, like opening a window and like dropping a rope down from like a different angle that's like a shorter dash, right? Like you folks got in, you clambered up the floor. There was probably some escapades on that floor where like you almost hit a patrol, but like Misha, like then like the next shot is like holding you up in the rafters or something, right? So cool. So rest of the squad, all of a sudden this is now like controlled, but like I have to say, like you still have to make some rolls to get across the courtyard. There's a lot of people in heavy armor, and there's an entire squad of rookies.
But I think now with a shorter range, now it's not scout, it's maneuver. Now it's coordinate everybody to move quickly, timing, and it doesn't matter if we're making a little bit of noise. We're not trying to be super
that sounds
silent.
wonderful.
We're just trying to like not fall down in the middle of it.
Let's do a maneuver roll.
Don't fall.
Cool.
So I'm gonna tell you folks.
I think this has to be a group action as well to get everybody else.
Yeah, it is. But I'm gonna ask you a question, Sean.
Sure.
There's a little role play tidbit. First question is the commander of the Legion, a guy or a gal?
The commander of the Legion. Is female. She's
cool.
A woman.
Does she have a nickname? Is she like,
her nickname
like
is
old
Crush.
Battle Axe, or like what is her
nickname is Crush.
Awesome.
For similar reasons.
All right, awesome. But I want to ask you a question. This is a moment where like the rookies are tense, everything's on the line. It's not exactly the Legion's strongest maneuver, right? Like you don't have the Ghost Owls with you to do some sort of stealth maneuver here. And at some point in your past, the commander gave you some advice about leading. What is the most like useful advice that she gave you? That you're remembering now.
Oh damn! Oh, that's so good. That's such a good question. It's a good enough question that I want to think so I get it right. Like I don't want to just say some random thing. I think it was applicable to this, right? Like that's
Sure.
why I'm remembering it, right? And I think there was a times when she said, you don't always have what you need, but you always have the people you need. And it was like, we wrong equipment, wrong everything like that, but it was the people that mattered. And I think I turn and I say that to all of them as they're like, we might not have all the things, everything we need, but we have all the people we need right here. And
might not have what you need, but you have who you need.
Yes, exactly. And I lower my cap, given to me by a Barton friend. So let's go.
Awesome. Let's do this group maneuver.
Okay.
If you want any devil's bargains or pushes, let me know. And who's leading?
I'm gonna lead it.
Awesome.
I'm gonna lead it because I can.
So I'm gonna tell you a secret. You know this, but the rest of the game doesn't know this. It's the fact that lead from the front got changed slightly, which is that you can change the size of your unit up or down as is more useful. Mm-hmm. So in this case, you folks will not count as a large group. You will count as a small group. So go ahead and.
That's going to come in handy.
Yeah.
So it's one of the mechanics on the last pass we updated. But I just wanted to mention it to everyone out there.
Yeah.
So cool. So
don't get as much scale penalty, Yeah. So I think it's, we've already kind of got the timing a little bit from what they've already done. And now it's just a matter of like, the 7 of us going in like teams of 2, running across. Once they get halfway up, then the next team starts and moving quickly up the ropes, staying close to the wall. Again, not trying to be super, super quiet, just trying not to bang into anything too big because we figure they're distracted.
Awesome. Let's let the dice rip.
Yeah.
So Sean, go ahead, give me a maneuver. Jay, you'll have to maneuver as well. And then one of you will throw the die for the rookies.
Cool.
Can we help by just giving them signal, like keeping an eye on stuff and
you totally can.
Signal, hey, go.
So if you want to mark your stress, Misha, you can give +1D to anyone in this set. Jay, Sean, or the rookies, your choice.
Yeah.
I feel like the rookies might need it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. It's fair.
So rookies will have 2D instead of 1D.
Nice.
Sounds good.
I appreciate.
Let's throw some bones.
All right. Maneuver. What's our position effect?
Controlled, standard.
Nice.
You're a small group. You have the support. You have the timing.
I have a bonus die because I'm loyal and I'm in a group action.
Zimyati. Hey!
Bonus die did it. There we go. So now it's just a question of how much stress do I take? Oh, yeah. Thank you.
While you're at it, you're going to get to tell me the name of the rookie that you bail out of a jam, you loyal Zimyati, you.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if I have to bail a rookie out of a jam. Maybe the
Jay,
rookie.
good.
And this is controlled, right?
Yeah. You don't have to roll good. You just have to roll terrible. Because we get the best results. So we've already got a 6.
Right.
It's just if you roll low, I'll take stress. It's fine. Nice.
Perfect. That's exactly what you needed. You
That's
don't have to roll good. You just don't have to roll terrible. Good job. You did your job,
You aced
Jay.
it,
So what does that look like? Is there like do you take a second to accelerate into like combat speed, or do you like try and sneak? What does it look like as the heavy goes across the courtyard?
I think I'm slow. I think it's all about trying not to be noticed. I don't think I'm moving very fast.
Cool. So Sean, I'm gonna just roll for the rookies if that's okay for right now, just because we don't have a marshal. Usually this would be the marshal's job.
Sure. That's fine.
But I want you to tell me which rookie gets into trouble.
Oh, I assume rookies are getting in trouble no matter how they roll. Okay. Yeah.
At least one is. But you're loyal and you bail them out. You just got to tell me how you do it.
Yeah, exactly. I know exactly what they do. I'm just looking at the names list so I can get you a name. Let me grab a
Wow, the rookies nail it. They get a 6 too.
Nice.
But one of them gets in a jam. Just one.
One of them gets a jam. Yes. It's an orite because we haven't brought any orites in yet. And it's Zardani. No, that's too many Z's.
That's okay.
That's okay. All right, Zardani.
What is their title?
Zardani is
because orites are real fancy with their titles. Is it just like a low scale title, like a chevalier, or are they like super fancy?
Yeah. I love your titles. What is graph? Where is that?
Graph is akin to a count, but it doesn't matter. They could be a graph of a county that's the size of like a city block. It's
graph Zardani.
Oh wow.
I'm sure they have a first name
There's
as well.
Probably a great story to this, but right now, Graf Zardani. How did they get in? How did they get in a jam, Sean? Or do you want me to tell you how they get in a jam?
Oh, I totally know it. I think we're doing it. Everything's going great, and as a squad, they're doing awesome. And then the sky lights up, but it's not the thunder, the lightning. It's Zora's flame. It's like another one of these barrels goes over, and they just stop and stare as they watch this horror like kind of come around a corner like 30 feet away from us and heaving one of these things. And they're just like, as they see like one of the arms like that are on the back of the horror, just kind of like waving like mindlessly, it's like one of the many arms that form its arm. And they just kind of like stare at it for a moment. And I kind of lock eyes with them, and my piercing brown eyes are like, another time. And
Move, soldier.
Yeah, it's not like a harsh admonistration, but it's like, this is not the time for that. Awesome. Probably never the time for that, but yeah,
So we see everyone scaling up the side of the building, using the ropes and everything, and you folks pop inside. I think this is a good time to see how the battle outside is going. Yeah. So if you'll just give me a moment, let's see how well Zora is holding the line.
Come on, Zora.
I believe in you.
Come on, girl.
Yes. Yeah, 6.
Nice.
She is definitely holding attention, which I'm gonna talk about here. And then let's see. Undead wrecking the Legion.
It is possible to roll 13 dice and get nothing but 3s. I've done it.
We know. True facts. All right. So here's, I think there is a moment like the undead are holding their own, and it seems like the flames have been going down, and I think you called out the moment, right? So I think this horror drops back. It reaches over with like an arm made of multiple arms because it's like got like 3 bodies like into its like giant throwing arm, right? And it heaves, and that's when you actually like for a split second you see like Zora bounce off the battlement. She like throws a spear. Like the movie is shooting from the front gates. Obviously, you folks are somewhere in the rear. But she actually like runs and she like throws the first spear and embeds in a wall, and she throws a second spear and embeds higher up, and then she like leaps, lands on the first one, lands on the second one, and what you're actually seeing, that light, is her actually cresting above the walls, extending her sword like to like some absurd distance and just like cutting this barrel in half in the sky. So yeah, that's the moment where she gets her 6, and like the undead are like, so yeah. She's holding her own. She's holding her own, but the undead are she's actually like getting kills on the undead at this point. The Legion is doing way better than it should be.
Nice.
Cool. So I think in the keep you have a scout. You have a squad that is functioning effectively smaller than it should be. There are several patrols that you bypass, as you're creeping along. And I think that the next major obstacle that you encounter is you're headed, like you have maps of the keep, right? Like you're navigating it, you know how to like bypass some stuff. And you come out above what looks to be like a large main room. If you want to imagine like this is some Indiana Jones era like keep, right? Like you've got like a giant fireplace. It's got high back chairs. It's got like flags and like, I don't know, deer heads on the walls.
Yeah.
Tapestries all over. Yeah. So yeah, it's like one of those like antique castles. It's 2 floors where you're at, right? And as you kind of sneak up on this balcony, and you can imagine that like if there was a ball, this would be like where like maybe the count would sit and look at all the people dancing, or it's like a place to host a small dinner while there's entertainment below or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a bit different, right? Like the keep seems to be in relatively good shape. The undead haven't held it for very long, so like it's not like it's rotted 100 years. But you folks are like sneaking up onto this balcony and looking down, and there is this giant black suit of armor, and you feel like you're, I want to say like a good 20 feet from it, because this is not a small room, this is a ballroom, right?
Yeah.
But you can feel heat coming off of it. Like where its faceplate opens, there's no body, there's just this like black flame. They haven't spotted you. You're kind of above, you can see them, but you realize that you've never actually seen this particular undead type. It's unusual. It's because they're called the Cinder Guard. They're the Cinder King's personal guard. That's what you're seeing from above here. And behind this Cinder Guard is a closed door, and there are screams coming out of that door. So I'm just going to ask Jen here. The commander has been like super kind to you before. Why don't you tell me like a moment that you remembered the commander most fondly?
So I think it was actually when the commander helped bandage a wound of mine. Maybe that I couldn't reach, or like on my back or something. Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. So yeah, you remember that moment fondly, and I'll just remind everyone that your orders are to bring the commander back or kill them.
Yeah.
And what do you folks?
One of the two.
What do you folks want to do?
Out of just to confirm, I'm pretty assuming this is the case, but this Cinder Guard is guarding the door, right? Like they're in front of the door.
They're standing like maybe 2 feet to the side of it, like like obviously they have like a sword, but it's like an anime sword. Like we're talking like something that's like a good 6.5 feet long, like some absurd claymore made of black metal.
Giant sword.
Yeah, and actually, like you can see, like where it's holding it, the handle of this blade is metal, and it's actually like glowing. So yeah. What do you folks want to do?
we're on a balcony. We're like a floor above it.
Yeah, you are.
I doubt that would like stop it for long. Like we could.
But there's
we could,
like two staircases going down. Yeah, I mean,
we could open fire on it from above. That could be a thing. Yeah.
Is there a chandelier with a rope?
Yeah. There can totally be a chandelier with a rope. Yeah, that's that kind of castle. That's Gans.
Yeah. That
very
that
fancy, lots of crystal. But heavy.
The question. I think we could like huddle up for a second, and Zainov is like, the question is, are we going through it or around it? Do we want to end this thing, or do we want to find another way in? We don't have much time. And she's genuinely looking to everybody like, I'm not saying that there's one answer to this, but we have to pick which one we're doing. And she's trying to like read all your faces to see.
I think it's through it. The door's right there.
Door's right there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what if the two people in heavy gear who can fight real good distract him while the other two sneak in and see what we can do?
I mean, that's a possibility.
Remember that the mission is the commander. You do not necessarily need to kill this thing, but if you do, good.
I mean, it's not. Yeah, Zainov is like, I don't care. It doesn't need to die.
Well, yeah,
it needs to get out of the way.
I feel like trying to kill this thing is just going to be a big long slog, right?
Like, it did come with black shot, but it's armored. It has
heavily armored.
Heavily armored. We'd have to probably pry that armor open. You have your wrecking kit, right?
I do.
Heft's Warhammer.
Yeah.
I am the wrecking kit.
Yeah.
Like looking at the map, looking at the door. Is there a window on the other side?
Yeah.
Of this room?
Sure. Yeah, there can be big stained glass windows in this room too. Yeah.
But
No. Like, so the room we're trying to.
The room behind it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There could definitely be a window there.
We could go over and out.
I mean, I like that option best.
Then we wouldn't have to fight the giant thing, and
you would have to move an entire troop along a third-story wall. And my question for you will be like, what's your escape vector here, right? Like, if you barricade the door, what does that escape look like?
Yeah.
Do we think we can distract it?
Yeah.
Move it from the door?
So what, you guys rush the dude and we'll rush the door?
Nobody's rushing anything. We're gonna open fire on it from above. We might as well take the tactical advantage we have. If it comes to us, we'll be ready. But yeah, we shoot at it. If it's dumb enough to just keep letting itself get shot, then well, I don't think anything of the Cinder Kings is that foolish. But we shoot at it, draw it away, and you go in. I don't like this plan.
I got some black arrows, so it's not the worst idea I've ever heard.
All right, so is that what I'm hearing? I'm hearing that there's going to be a group action. You're probably going to rely on the heavy to do some sort of very dangerous setup to crack its armor open, and then you're just basically going to try and saturate it with black shot fire. That's the plan?
I think that's what's. I mean,
not necessarily in that order, but yes.
That's what Zainova is looking at her Miltani the cynic and suggesting, like, if we're gonna hurt that thing, we got to get that armor open. And she looks at you, Miltani. Oh, sorry, not Miltani. Mitali.
Yeah, Mitali. No, I agree. I think you're right.
I can open. You feeling good about this?
I didn't. I'm going to go one day.
Maybe not today. So, what does this look like? Do you like roar and leap off this balcony and like charge it? Do you like come down the staircase, yell "Hey, ugly"? What do you sneak? Like, what is the plan here?
No, I think if I'm above it on the balcony,
yeah,
I want to come right down on top of it.
Death
Awesome.
from above.
Yeah.
So like the balcony is here, the door's like a little ways ahead. Do you like just like leap in like with a battle cry?
Yes.
Do you have a battle cry you like?
Not yet. I'll have one by the next time we play.
Yeah.
Awesome. No, this rocks. All right, so you've got your Warhammer.
Right.
Do you have anything painted on your tower shield? Like, is there something like identifying you? Are you like the lion, like your officer, or do you have like an animal you like?
The rhino, but I think my mom put it on there.
Nice.
Aw.
I dig it. I dig
I
it.
think my mom put it on there because I'm having trouble being devout, and she's devout.
Awesome.
Nice.
So you are the Rhino of the Legion.
She put that on there as a reminder to you.
Yes.
Nice. Keeping you safe.
So I think there's this moment where you dash for the edge and you get ready for your leap.
Right.
And as you put your foot on and you're gonna leap and come down on this thing, I think its head snaps up and it does a gesture where like it takes its sword and it swings it to the right, and like you see like the ground is getting scoured like from the weight of this thing, and then it like gets ready to meet you, like to swing back and hit you. And as it's doing that, the red glow is starting to creep down it, right?
Right.
And as the two of you are about to come together, I think we're gonna take a break.
Nice.
I'm queuing up my dice. I'm like, okay, this one.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm gonna take a stress. I'm gonna push myself.
Push yourself. We're gonna
get some anchor.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. All right. We'll be back in 5. See you all. We'll see how this goes.